Wedding season is coming, and if your digital life feels like one big messy desktop or one big messy playroom, same. But before the inbox explodes and all the back-to-backs begin, I am going to walk you through how to reset everything, business, home, and headspace, so that we can all spring into wedding season without feeling like we're burning out. This is the first episode in a new YouTube series that I am doing where I'm going to take you behind the scenes on how we prep for wedding season. So both on the business side of things and the mom life side of things as well. We're going to cover things like organizing files, setting up our workflows, prepping our gear, planning our wedding day wardrobes as well, and setting goals, and most importantly, just like mentally getting into the headspace to show up for these long demanding days on our feet. So I just got the kids off to school. I am going to quickly clean up this playroom before I begin my workday today and take you a little behind the scenes on how I start prepping for our wedding season ahead. All right, so first thing is first, I actually have my annual physical this morning, and I'll be honest, I haven't been in like over 2 years. I've been pregnant or postpartum for the last like 5 years, and it honestly felt like I was at the doctor, all the time with like all the checkups and stuff that you have to do. But those appointments aren't really like full checkups, that you really need. And they're not doing the full workups, the blood panels, like all the things that help you stay ahead, especially when you are juggling everything like being a mom, running a business, and shooting weddings. So if you're a mom, I know that you get this. We always feel like we're at the doctor constantly, but it's usually for our kids. And it's so easy to put off our own health. And the truth is we can't pour into an empty cup. So this year, I've really been making my health a priority. I've been working out consistently for, about 4 days a week, and just cutting back on caffeine and sugar, and trying to eat more protein, and just drinking a ton of water with electrolytes, and just trying to support my body in the best way I can so I can set it up for success. And it's not just physically, but it's also mentally too. So I've also been trying to wake up early and read my Bible and just spend time with God in the morning, and as many times as the kids allow me. And it's not always perfect, I'll be honest, but I try to do it as often as I can. But to be honest, that is just what always brings me back to my why. It helps me just to slow down and just to stay grounded and just to show up better in every area of my life, as a mom, as a wife, as a business owner, and as a wedding videographer. So taking time before wedding season really ramps up to get everything in order makes such a big difference. And I'm going to be talking about how blocking off just a few days to prep and just organize files and syncing calendars and just, checking your gear, all the behind the scenes stuff that helps just your season run smoother. And so it is so easy just to skip these things and, just to dive right in, start shooting and everything like that. But every time I actually slow down and get prepared, I feel so much more confident. I'm always a little bit more clear-headed, and I'm just way less overwhelmed once things get really busy. So if you don't know where to start or what to do, don't worry. We're actually going to do it together over the next few days. And I'm starting today, and let's get into it. All right, so I am back from the doctor's. I had my lunch, I'm refueled, I am ready to go, and I'm ready to start our digital reset for today. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I love talking about working smarter and not harder. And now in this season of life with 3 little ones, less time for work, that's like more important than ever, really. And when I sit down to work, it literally has to count. So I need structures, I need systems, I need space to be creative without wasting time. So whether you're a wedding photographer, a planner, or a filmmaker, or a florist, really any type of wedding creative, let this just be your gentle nudge to start getting organized and just be intentional and just give yourself the best chance to thrive this wedding season. All right, so let's dive into the digital side of things first. And we're gonna start with the first thing on my to-do list today, which is to reset our Google Drive for the year. So within that Google Drive, each couple gets their own folder where, they'll have like their timeline in it, any timeline that the planners send us or that the couple sends us, maybe their certificate of insurance or just any other documents that are sent to us regarding that wedding, everything goes in that folder. This way we're just really like organized and everything is in there. If, you know, either Justin and I need to look, like we know where to find it. And so just making sure that all those folders are set up ahead of time is just so key for us. And I do have a labeling system that I use so that everything is just really consistent and easy to find. And yes, it is so simple to create these folders, and you might think that it's a little too simple to just do something ahead of time to set up, but I will have to say that once everything is set up and labeled and ready to go, it saves me so much time when you are just like in deep dive in wedding season, and it's just one less thing you have to worry about. Okay, so I just finished up setting up my Google Drive. I finished up all of my folders here. So we are actually all ready to go. I'm really happy to get that done. It didn't take long. I had to take a quick break and I had to pick up the kids from school. I just made a little coffee, and now we are gonna talk about the next part. So part of my reset every year is going through and just updating all of our templates and our systems. It's not just for our clients, but it's for us too, right? So it's just one of those things where it's really easy to put off, but I know that doing it now just saves us so much time and mental energy, just like when we're deep into wedding season. So if you've watched any other of my videos, you know that I love templates and workflows and creating systems for everything. So I'm gonna start by just refreshing our folder structure on our working hard drives. We've got a system that works really well now. Each client gets a master folder, and then there's like subfolders in there, which I'm sure, you know, if you're a wedding videographer, you have the same thing, like some for raw footage, audio, edits, music, all of that kind of stuff. And so I'm just gonna go in and clean that up and just make sure that's all organized, how we like it. And then usually there's a few things that I like to update, and then we just basically use that same setup for every single wedding moving forward. Okay, so that's done. And next I'm actually gonna check our MediaZilla account. That's actually where we host all of our final films and long form edits that we send our couples. So I actually just wanna go in there. I wanna make sure everything's updated, make sure our design template is good. There were a couple things I wanted to update with like our email templates in there that have been bothering me for a while. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So it's all ready to go. And I'll see you back in a little bit. So this is kind of like tidying up your workspace before a big project, right? It's definitely not the most exciting part of the job, but when everything is updated and just consistent across the board, it just creates a much smoother workflow. And so honestly, it just makes me feel a lot less scattered, like when I have to come sit down and edit or deliver a film, and I'm not updating the same thing for every single project. Okay, this next part is definitely not the most glamorous, and honestly, it's kind of tedious, but it is so important. I go through and confirm everything from last year is fully backed up. And then I start clearing space for all the new footage and files and projects that are coming our way. Video takes up a ton of storage and way more than photos, so I have to stay on top of this. It is definitely a must. Anything from past years we absolutely keep, but we do offload it all to like a long storm storage, which for us is Dropbox. That frees up space on our working hard drives, which I have here. Which is what we use as part of like a 3-part backup system. So we use external hard drives, Dropbox, which is like a cloud service, and then something new we're trying this year, which is a NAS system. I won't even pretend to fully understand how that all works. That is definitely Justin's forte. He set it all up, but we're really excited to incorporate into our workflow this year. And it should be a total game changer for how we like manage and access all of our footage. I also take this time just to clean up my desktop, any like stray files and just all of that kind of stuff. Just really like clean up everything as like a digital refresh. It's like clearing the kitchen counters before you cook, and just once everything is in order, I just feel so much more ready to dive in and focus on the creative side of things. So you will see here that I have a bunch of our hard drives. I was just going around the house and pulling them. And what we typically do for like organizing them is we just like use a labeling system. And so we actually use this, little label maker right here, and we'll just put the couple's name on it, and then we'll go ahead and add them to the hard drive. So we have all of them on here, and now I'm just gonna go through, I'm just gonna remove those labels and make sure everything's backed up and cleared and ready to go. Okay, so I got 2 more items left for today for our digital reset. And the next one is about Asana. So Asana we have used for a while now, and honestly, we love it. But this year we're taking it to the next level. I've created a full board that just like maps out all of our workflows and just like our entire wedding season. Every task is like laid out with dates and who's responsible for what and how it ties into like our overall production timeline. We've also started assigning tasks to team members with just like really clear deadlines, and now everything is linked to like this master due date calendar that is just like our holy grail. Like this is what we always like refer back to during the wedding season so that we can quickly see what's coming up, what needs attention, you know, from editing timelines and just backing up and just prepping deliveries. It's all there. It's really helped us stay more focused and avoid that like scramble feeling when everything all hits at once, because, you know, we've all been there. I'm thinking about doing a full deep dive into our Asana setup in a future video. So if that is something that you would like me to talk about and dive into, let me know in the comments below, and I would love to hear from you. But for now, we're gonna go into Asana. We're gonna check and make sure that everything is good. I've spent a couple of other work days like really deep diving and setting everything up. So I'm gonna make sure it's all good to go and ready to use since we start weddings in a couple weeks. And let's get started. Okay, this is probably one of the most important parts about prepping for a wedding season is syncing our calendar with our actual life. With 3 little ones, it's not just, can I take this wedding? It's who's watching the kids? Do we have school drop off that day? Are there any activities going on? There is a lot to coordinate, and we just have to make sure that we are all on the same page. So we share our wedding Google Calendar with my parents. They are the ones who do watch the kids when we are at weddings, so that this way they can see every wedding weekend in advance. And then once I have a timeline for that specific wedding, as it gets a little bit closer, I'll make sure I touch base with my parents to just confirm exactly what time they need to be at our house. I usually ask them to come around 1 to 2 hours before we leave, just so we have that little bit of buffer time, because you never know that, you know, when they're traveling here, they're about an hour away. They could hit traffic, something could happen. One of the kids might be having a meltdown that morning and we're just trying to get out the door, right? Because it's definitely happened before. And because wedding days usually mean we are gone for lunch and dinner and bedtime, I prep everything ahead of time. I plan out what each kid is eating. I lay out pajamas, sippy cups, just all the things to keep the evening routine running as smoothly as possible, because I know it can get crazy. Luckily for Saturday weddings, it's usually our pizza night. So we usually order pizza delivery for them, and that definitely makes things a lot easier. But even that needs to be scheduled and labeled and written down so my parents know exactly what's going on where. Honestly, the prepping all the kids stuff before weddings sometimes feels like more work than the wedding itself, but that's just the season that we're in right now. We are gone for a big chunk of time, and it's a lot, but having everything organized ahead of time gives me so much peace of mind. That way I can walk out the door and just fully focus on our couples without worrying about what is happening at home. So a couple of the things I love to use as the kids, just to like prep meals and all of that kind of stuff, I actually will use their lunchbox at home if we are gone for lunch. So I'll fill up their lunch and anything like that in here and put it in the fridge. And so that is super helpful, that like one meal is ready to go. And I just have to worry about dinner for them, which is usually something that everyone eats. Or I will use like their little plates that we have. I'll put them in the fridge and I'll put like a wrapper on it or something like that. And it's something that they're used to. It's more consistent, and it hopefully helps any of the tantrums or meltdowns that could be happening while we're gone. So those are just a few of the things I love to do. All right, so that is my digital reset for today. Part 1 of the series, and honestly, it is the foundation for everything else that is coming. So if you are a wedding pro, a creative, or just a working mom just trying to balance a million things at once, I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration, or at least reminded you that you are not alone. Remember, prepping for wedding season is not just about all the timelines and the gear. It really is just about getting like your mind and space and your heart in the right place. That is so important. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just about setting yourself up so that you can show up well for your clients, for your family, and for yourself. If that sounds helpful, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the videos that are coming next in the series. And if you have any questions or just want to share what you're doing to prep for wedding season, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.